What is going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel, Woody RC. In front of us here we have the new Traxxas trx4m brushless power system. Now this is a 3350 kV motor, a little on the high end, but we'll see how it does here. There's the motor here. That's the size of it right there. It's not very big. The ECM, it's a 3-channel, looks like it, receiver / ESC, and a mounting plate that we're gonna have to use to mount the motor to this here. This is the Traxxas High Trail, and I've recently installed a 2-speed tranny from Traxxas on here. And this has been pretty fun to run around, but it just really kind of lacked that low-end torque that the original low-end gears had with the stock motor. So I'm assuming this here is gonna really help that out there. It's a nice etching on the can there. This is Traxxas. And I'm hoping also it'll give a little bit more torque in second gear when I'm out trailing. Because when this thing here in second gear with the stock motor, you come up on a rock, unless you got momentum going, you're not getting over much with the 2-speed setup in second gear, unless you got your speed going, your momentum. So I'm hoping that's gonna fix the issue here. I'm guessing that it will, but let's get to it. Pretty easy to read instructions here with pictures also. First step, remove the ECM and retain and reuse the screws. So let's do that. All right, we go ahead and got that removed now. And step 2 says do install the ECM brushless using the screws from step 1. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we've got that part done. I'm not sure if you want this, which side do you want these on here. I guess it's just up to you and how you want your wire set up. We got step 3, remove. Sorry about the glare here. It's telling us to remove the brush motor and the transmission here assembly. Let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna go ahead and also just remove this battery tray, so it's a lot more easier to work with. All right, we got the battery tray removed and pushed off over to the side. Don't lose the little screws that hold it in, so just put them off to the side over here for now. Now we could get the transmission out in the motor. Go ahead and pop that out of there now. Got all 4 screws removed. Sometimes it gets can get wedged in there. There we go. It's just gonna pull right out of the drive shafts in the front and the rear. There you go. The drive shafts are on the transmission here still. Then you got the, once they pop into the axles there, those will stay there. Okay, so see what we got next, guys. So far it says remove the brush motor from the transmission, install the brushless motor mounting plate on the transmission using the included hardware. Let's go for that. So it looks like we got 5 screws holding these transmission halves together to pull it apart, and you're also going to have to remove the the drive shafts also on both sides here. Let's get to that. Okay, so I got all 5 screws out. You can see how the holes are situated here. And I set up my screws the same way, so I know exactly which screws they go to, because there's only one screw that is shorter, and that was on the lower half right here. But that was the rest of the screws were all the same size. So if you just remember where that shorter screw goes, you'll be fine. So go ahead and got the case pulled apart here, and that's what the gears look like. So we're gonna have to remove these gears to get to the motor mount screws, and remove that motor and replace it with your brushless motor. Now, when you set these gears out to the side, put them in order so you know exactly how they go back in. Let's go for that. Well, it looks like we only had to remove, well, for now, this is what I'm thinking, 3 of the gears inside. You could see there's the pinion gear, and there's the 2 Hex screws to remove the motor. Okay, easy enough now. Got the motor out. The motor mounting screws are still actually inside there, probably just kind of stuck in the plastic transmission housing there. Now we're gonna install the brushless motor. Let's see what's next here, guys, with the mounting plate. And here's what the mounting plate looks like with the 4 screws that were included in the plastic bag. Okay, according to the pictures, what I'm seeing here looks like the mounting plate's gonna mount up to the motor. We got 2 holes here in the motor And the mounting plate, it's got a couple of countersunk holes here. And according to the pictures, we're gonna go by what pictures look like, because it didn't say the instructions. These countersunk holes are gonna line up with the motor holes in the motor here, in the brushless motor. And I assume we're gonna use the longer screws for that. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, and that's what it looks like there when you're done with it. So now we're gonna put this into we're gonna connect it to the left side of the transmission housing here. Okay, so these are the screws that just came out, my older screws here. And these are the newer ones here. They're the same size, but I'm gonna go with the new ones because they got some, some fresh thread lock on there, looks like it, to hold the motor in place. All right, guys, gonna have to go back a step. I made a mistake. The shorter screws are going to go into the mounting plate to the motor, and the longer screws are going to mount the actual motor to the transmission half. So I got to remove these and go back in. Okay, so I'm assuming why the smaller screws had the blue thread lock on them, because it's going into the metal can in here, and the longer screws are plastic, and it's going to go on the plastic, motor mount plate here. So you won't need thread lock for that. All right, guys, so that's how it looks. Mounted up onto the tranny half there. Looks pretty good. Let's get the gears back in there, put everything back together. All right, we got all the gears installed. Looks like we got a nice mesh there with the new motor and pinion that came with it. Let's get this cover back on. All right, got all my screws back in here, the transmission together, but I didn't snug the screws down yet. When you snug these down, when it's metal going into plastic, you got to be very careful. I just like to go just finger tight, and that's about it. Okay, where everything's put together, I just need to put it back into my chassis here, into the high trail. Now, when you put everything back together, you just want to make sure everything's, spins nice and everything moves freely. Can't do that at the moment because I'm holding my camera, but I did check it. Everything spins nice and smooth, and it's quiet, and there's no binding. All right, guys, well, here is the finished product. And I do like that I put this on the back side because the motor wire is long, and so is the battery wire. And so when you plug it in, you don't have a bunch of wire bunched up there in the center. But that's how it looks. It went together fairly easy. I have to say, more than fairly easy. It's just direct bolt on. Sorry about that, my cough. But the only issue I had was that was my own fault. Hope you guys are smarter than me. And you get the right screws in to the motor mounting plate for the new brushless motor there. I put the longer screws in there to mount the plate to the motor, and it required the shorter screws, but no problem. That just only put me back about a minute or two. Now we got it all mounted up. Got a fresh battery in here. There's a rock out in front of my house. I want to crawl over in high gear and low gear and see how it does. Let's head right out there. Okay, before you head outside, let's get an initial test crawl. I am in low gear right now, and let's see how slow we can get it to go. And I believe this does have the FOC, the field orientation control, where you don't have to hold any more input throttle, and it'll keep crawling over at whatever you have your finger set out on the throttle. So that is a low crawl there, about as slow as I could get it, probably a little bit slower. Let's see. Here we go. It's moving still. That is very slow. But let's see how slow we could get it to crawl over this here little hand driver here. It's moving the driver. Let me hold it in place there. There you go. I'm not applying any more input, and it is still crawling up, as you could see there. So that's nice. It goes to show this motor has plenty of torque, even though it's a 3300 kV motor here. This is going to be fun now with that 2-speed transmission in this high trail here. I could actually crawl with it now in that low gear setting. Let's see if we could actually crawl in high gear now. Okay, we've got it in high gear, and I still haven't adjusted the speed control. There are 3 settings. There is crawl, sport, and trail on here. Crawl, trail, and sport. Just like the original ESC, it's got those different settings. So right now it doesn't have the full lock and crawl mode, but let's see if we could get over this here now. Let me hold it down, my transmitter here. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is gonna be fun on the trail with this system here, because it could actually crawl and get up, and it still has a torque to get up over an obstacle like we just saw here. Where before, with the brush system in there, and when I had this 2-speed in second gear, it would not get over anything. You had to give it a bump, you had to go at it with momentum. But now, it's getting right over. All right, let's go out front and check it out. I'm gonna set up the ESC and put it in crawl, because that's the way I like to mess around in the crawl mode, because I like the drag brake. A little cogging there, but it is in high gear, so that's expected, but that is nice. So I forgot what the modes were, but here are the modes: sport mode, trail mode, and crawl mode. Crawl mode, 3 flashes. I'm gonna go ahead and set it for crawl mode. 1 flash, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then you let go. All right, so it's in crawl mode now. Let's go out to find that rock. Okay guys, here we are. This is the rock I was telling you about there. And you know, I'm running the stock tires. I'm not sure how these stock tires will climb up this rock, but this test is all about the, you know, the crawling capabilities of this brushless motor. Looks like the stock tires aren't liking this rock. Let's try another angle over here. But the motor, plenty of torque to slow crawl. You know, with this 2-speed transmission set in crawl, you know, in first gear. Getting hung up there. That's no good. But if I had some better tires on here, it would get right up that, no problem. Let's try this angle, guys. Hung up on the bumper there. There we go. Yeah. So it definitely is a good crawling motor. It feels like the original low range gears that I used to have in here, you know, with the stock motor. Maybe even a little bit better. Let's see how it does in high gear. Just wish I had tires that could make it up this rock. But we'll cruise over here a little bit more to the right of the rock. Okay, so it's in high gear. Let's see if it could crawl. There it is. Getting hung up there. Come on, guy. There's the cog in high gear. A little bit of throttle, no big deal. Tires aren't liking it. Let's try this angle. All right. Sorry about that, guys, but it is definitely a lot more crawlable in high gear, you know, for trail usage. But for strictly rock crawling, definitely throw it into first gear if you're running this 2-speed tranny from Traxxas. There we go. All right, let's check out the drag brake in high gear first. It's probably gonna roll a lot more. Got it in FOC, so it may control it, but let's let go of the throttle now. Yeah, see, it just went right down when I let go of the throttle in high gear. Let's put it in low gear now really quick. Let's just see if it'll hold. There it is. Now it's holding in low gear. Now what I like about the FOC is the control now I have with this when I'm descending, because when you're out crawling, you know, descending is part of the, you know, crawling also. See there, I'm just inching down. It's holding its speed. The tires may actually slide here before the truck, but look at that, that is nice. See, it actually slid down on its own there. You know, it was locked in, but the tires just didn't have the grip and they were sliding down. But anyways, yeah, that's how it looks. It's how, see how it looks top speed here in low gear. Ready? Look at that. That's low gear. That thing moves in low gear. You could actually trail with this in low gear. That's nice. All right, let's pop it into high gear now. All right, guys, we are in high gear. I don't have my thumb steer with me. That could barely reach the steering wheel, but here it is in high gear. Whoa, that thing's a rocket. Wow, guys, that is fast. Look at that thing move. Jeez. You could rally this thing now. Oh, almost tipped over there. But yeah. Oh man, what a little beast this motor is. All right, guys, well, that's gonna conclude our test run, our installation review with this trx4m motor brushless system from Traxxas. I'm liking it. I think I'm gonna have a lot more fun with this high trail out there now, on the trail and the rocks. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching.